Hello, my name is Zach Udrowski, and you are looking at my poster on the analysis of shifts in Phragmites australis, commonly known as just Phragmites, or the common reed, and Zizania aquatica, or wild rice, from 2012 to 2023 in the Otter Point Creek area. The main purpose of this study was to update the mapping efforts that were done by Shelby Taylor in the summer of 2012. I did this by paddling around the site with the GPS module and collecting waypoints and recording observations in a notebook as I went along. Phragmites, which is an invasive reed species, increased the area that it was covering within the research area by 28%. Now, this is concerning because Phragmites chokes out native vegetation as it grows in dense stands. But there is good news. Wild rice, which is an important native species, providing habitat and food for aquatic organisms, increased the area that it covers by 456%. Now, these shifts are highlighted in the maps on the poster. The one on the left shows the vegetation distributions from 2012, and the one on the right shows the distributions from this past summer. In order to get a more full understanding of the roles that Phragmites and wild rice were playing in the ecosystem, I collected soil samples from soil that was nearby each species. I measured the soil phosphate content by diluting the soil in water and then using test strips, and I found that the phosphate content was significantly higher near areas of wild rice growth than Phragmites. Becky and I also collected soil samples along a transect going into a Phragmites stand in order to determine the impact that Phragmites has on soil organic matter. Since Phragmites had been spreading outwards, the further into the stand we went, the longer Phragmites had been there. After doing loss on ignition tests on the soil samples, I determined that the location along the transect had a significant effect on the soil organic matter content for both the 0 to 15 centimeter and 65 to 80 centimeter depths. The further into the stand we went, the higher the organic matter content of the soil was. This shows that even though Phragmites has a lot of negative qualities as an invasive species, it is helping to sequester large amounts of carbon from the atmosphere. I also looked at wood duck box hatching data to determine what correlations there were with how close the boxes were to wild rice. It was expected that the boxes that had been next to wild rice since 2012 would have higher hatching data. There would be more hatches in those boxes than the ones that are only recently nearby to wild rice that has just spread towards them. However, after comparing them, it was found that there was no significant difference in those hatching data for the different sets of boxes. The wild rice growth that's occurred in the marsh is really great, and effort should be made to make sure that the wild rice stays protected. Even though having Phragmites in the marsh isn't ideal, it has been there for quite some time, and removing it could actually do more harm than good. So, since it's been spreading at a relatively slow rate, I recommend that efforts be made to just prevent it from spreading further. Thank you so much for your interest in my project. Have a great day.